Show me the thing! Welcome back to Featured Fan Builds. As always, we're going to be looking at some absolutely gorgeous stuff. There are three designers that I'm going to be talking about, and then the rest will be in the slideshow at the end. If you would like to have your build featured, the address to send it to is captain.xavier.fanbuilds@gmail.com. Do try to take some decent photos. Make sure that they're in focus, that you have a decent background, that there's decent contrast. Please send them landscape and not portrait. There's only so much I can do with really bad photos. And if they're bad enough, I'll just send you an email going, hey, can I get some better pictures? This looks awesome, but I can't tell. So, yeah, I'm still about 100 submissions behind. I can't seem to get caught up because I only do about 50 per episode. So be aware if yours hasn't been featured, it may still be in the backlog. All right, let's take a look at this first one. This one is sent by Stoic Clown. You may recall this build in the last episode, the Long Nine. Apparently this was one of his builds. And here's what he has to say. After sending the photos of my recent Long 9 rival knockout, I just thought I'd share some photos of some of my other pistol mods. These photos document my unhealthy love affair with the Hammershot. I know there is much debate in the Nerf community as to whether the Hammershot is an effective sidearm or not, or whether other revolvers like the Strong Arm are better. I am firmly in the pro Hammershot camp, as am I, depending on the situation. It has definitely been my favorite blaster to mod. Anyhow, attached are a few photos of some of my completed custom hammer shots. Number 1, Primus, the first hammer. This was my first hammer shot mod a few years ago. Nothing much to it other than smoothing out the fake tape grip, adding a barrel, and giving it a paint job. The barrel added came from the back end of one of those extendable Super Soaker stock attachments. It's basically a Raider stock, and that is brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen anybody use that to make a barrel out of, and it works so very well. Number 2, the Police Special Hammer. My second hammer shot mod. Tried my hand at minimizing the blaster with a snub nose 38 special vibe, like something a police detective might carry in a shoulder holster or hidden in an ankle holster. And this one, I kind of get a Blade Runner vibe off of it almost. It is, like you said, very simple, very elegant. I approve. Number 3, Roland's Quartet. My first matched pair of custom hammer shots, fit for a fantasy gunslinger, upgraded the internals with heavier springs and 8-round printed cylinders. The shells are modded with parts from some cut-up Maverick shells and the barrels that were made from the barrel attachment from a pair of Airzone Renegade revolvers, with some dusty last word aesthetics inspired thrown in to boot, or with some Destiny last word aesthetics inspirations thrown in to boot. And again, just a gorgeous matched set. I like matched revolvers, and the way he's done like the handle caps and the grips. Just beautiful, beautiful work. Number 4, Lord Webley's Twin Hammers. My second matched pair, and my first hammer shot mods after I became aware that the Mai Liang 3D printed barrel kits coming out of China. Those Mai Liang kits would become my obsession. As soon as they came out with a new style, I would order it and then work on designing how to custom mod a fresh hammer shot in a way that blended with the style of the particular barrel kit. For this pair, with one finished in the photo and the other unfinished with only the flat back base coat so far, I took inspiration from the British Webley Mark IV .455 revolvers with their sloping and tiered barrels to trigger profile and a more gracefully curved grips. Internals are upgraded with the cylinders upgraded to 7-shot. And this is another just absolutely gorgeous match set. I like the long barrels on these. They're as he said, very, very elegant looking. I like the way he did the grips and the paint jobs are again just beautiful, beautiful work. Number 5, Admiral Colt's Naval Hammer. For this one, I took inspiration from one of those classic old black and brass 1851 Colt Navy revolvers. The Sergeant Major has one, and I have actually fired it, and it is fantastic. Again, another 7-shot with upgraded internals. And yeah, like I said, having actually fired a Colt Navy, I do feel that he captured the essence. The barrel is a little interesting. There's a little more sci-fi vibe to the front of it, but the back end with the brass and the black looks just magnificent. Number 6, Malleus Ecclesiastes, aka Preacher's Hammer. Pardon my crappy attempt at very illiterate Latin. Sometimes incorrect Latin sounds better than correct Latin. Yeah, most mottos, if you actually properly translate them, don't actually say what they think they say. I use this barrel kit to do a drop cylinder mod for the hammer shot, using the screw port in the front as the pivot point to open it for swapping out the cylinders, and using the tack rail attachment as a locking mechanism, sliding it back to open and forward, then sliding it forward to lock again the barrel into the closed position. This was my way of making use of all those stock 5-round cylinders that I was removing and replacing with other modded hammer shots. I called this one, I named this one in honor of Clint Eastwood's character in Pale Rider, the enigmatic preacher, due to my love of that film and of the Remington 1858 new Army revolver he used with the swappable cylinders. Again, just, I mean, gorgeous. The swappable design, I absolutely love this one. Again, the simplicity and yet the elegance in design is really, really pretty. The final hammer shot, the Hammer of Extraordinary Gentlemen. The last of my fully completed hammer shot mods so far, I'm not much of a steampunk enthusiast, and this was my attempt at a hammer shot with the steampunk vibe without all of those ubiquitous and useless pipes and tubes and gears glued all over the exterior. The barrel attachment actually slides forward about a half an inch in order to provide more space for easier loading of the darts, upgraded spring, and installed an Orange ModWorks 6-round cylinder. Also, while perusing the interwebs one day, I came across Raymond Shower's fantasy gun designed at, there will be a link in the description if you want to see what the inspiration was. And I love the look of the grip to it so much that I felt the desire to try and replicate it with my steamy hammer shot. Turned out pretty decent, I think. And yeah, this is my preferred steampunk aesthetic. The up and the over the top and the gears and lights and all of that. I've seen some beautiful stuff, but I definitely prefer the more utilitarian look that he's got here. It has the brass, it has the copper, it has the steel and the wood. It has all of those steampunky elements, but is much more utilitarian, and I generally prefer that. I think if you're going to have gears on something in steampunk, it should actually do something as opposed to just being attached to the outside. And I've seen people who had functional gear setups in their steampunk, and it was just cool. And I really like what he did with that grip. That is actually, I mean, I'm not sure how he's doing that stuff with the grip, but I like it. As a bonus, I have also attached a photo of my modded Kronos Van Foamsling, inspired by the pistols yielded by Hugh Jackman in Van Helsing. Refashioned decorative grip, spring upgrade, added muzzle, added 6-round blaster. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the photos. Keep on nerfing. Stoic Clown. Just all of it. All of it is gorgeous. His paint jobs, his modding, the way he's integrated both the barrel kits and doing his own barrel kits. The variety that he has is also, in my opinion, very, very impressive. So, yeah, just absolutely beautiful work, Mr. Stoic Clown. All of it, gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff. Up next, we have, you guessed it, another piece by Andy Verk. And again, I'm going to give you his words, the backstory. The CRC MK10/400 was issued to control units of the One Nation state government during its short political ascendancy of Oceania from 2031 until 2038, and was the standard rifle for infantry, police, auxiliary militia, and other right-wing groups that wanted a piece of the pie. Called a crowd response and coercion essential, the bullpup design fires 10mm explosive rounds held in the magazine behind the pistol grip, and a 400-volt stun gun built into the upper forestock. This allows the trooper to stun anyone by pushing the muzzle against the target's chest, and many deaths were reported, but these were always found to be heart attacks by the state coroner. The stun gun was usually kept on, even in non-riot situations, to stop the weapon being pulled from the trooper's hands. This particular weapon was captured in an ambush in northern Peterson Land by Sergeant Alice Williams and personalized by her with the Free O's battle cry and rebel flag painted on the right side of the weapon. She was extremely happy to paint the flag over the white honor bar that the former owner had earned by participating in at least a minimum of 10 security ops, as the government termed the genocide carried out by these units. Towards the end of hostilities, ONS troops were observed scraping or burning the markings off before going into battle in case they were captured. Now the build. The build made from most of a Thunderhawk turned upside down and then fitted with a Recon Mark II grip with a Recon magazine housing fitted in behind it. The conveyor belt and flywheels from a Hyperfire are mounted above the magazine and run off a single 9-volt battery hidden under the snap-on foregrip. The deploy butt cap, the rear end, the paint job was going to be a 3-tone urban gray, but the 3 different colors turned out to be almost exactly the same, so to keep the visual interesting, the weapon was captured and redecorated by the new owner. Again, thanks for doing these videos. Some of the blasters you feature are amazing. Andy Verk. This is, once again, I mean, his work is just always impeccable, and I like that he's making them functional now. Some of his early stuff apparently wasn't. And this is just, it's very sci-fi, very utilitarian, very military, and I appreciate all of that in his design. The stun gun design is just a neat idea. The use of multiple blasters and using them in ways that most people never would have thought. I mean, using a Thunderhawk upside down is just neat. You don't see that kind of build very often. And then the way he did the paint job and the story behind it really just brings his stuff to life, in my opinion, and I really appreciate him sending these things in because they're just fun to see. Alright, the last one I'm going to talk about comes from Pimstock. And it's actually a whole series of stuff and loadouts and then just a really neat picture at the end because it's cool. Here we go. In his words, Dear Cap, at first, thanks for your videos, always looking forward to them, love the sense of humor you put into it. Such a shame, due to the pandemic, we weren't able to meet here in Holland. Hopefully, we get another chance next year or in the future. I finally found the courage to send in my gear, and my finished Ultra 2 gave me the perfect opportunity to do so. Hope you like what you see and read. I've started modding after I painted a cosplay prop. I'm really into Resident Evil, which will come up in my gear a few times. Current gear can be adjusted for cosplay purposes. The third picture is an old cosplay photo. Haven't been to an event with my current loadout. So here it is. Note, as my dedicated ammo, I'll use full and half men gun darts. My primary is a Straven. I know your thoughts about it, but I used an empty Raven shell with no internals. It runs on a 40mm OFP Daybreak setup with Kraken motors, LiPo in the Raven back end, which can be charged as it is. Neat. In the Strife jam door is a voltmeter, and the pusher is a worker hybrid with the metal trigger and Bobo style rev trigger. Just for fun, I added a lock and load pull on the side. FPS is around 150 to 160. My trusty sidearm is my Hotshock, complete with K26 and a full air seal. The original barrel can fire, of course, Mega and Rival. I made a homemade barrel from PVC and the back end of a Nerf barrel, which fit perfectly into the back end of the Hotshock. Over the barrel, I can shove a missile. AliExpress ones fit perfectly and fly far better and more accurate than the Nerf ones. My latest ad is a 3D printed barrel for Ultra, just because there was one on Thingiverse, and I had some of the darts lying around for my Ultra 2. This blaster served me well for many years now. FPS is around 120. I'm in love with revolvers, so I had to get myself a Viper for my loadout. I have a special holster for it on the right side of my tack vest. The Viper runs on fangs with Flywheel of the World wheels. Side note, it is one of 3 Vipers I will own. I'm pleased with the current performance. In total I have 5 cylinders for it. Perfect little sidearm. FPS is around 100. Then I had my latest build, my Ultra 2. Internals kit came from a German designer named Flatten the Skyline. That's very German. I'm very impressed with the quality and the design features of it. He is an awesome guy who made it half-dart compatible at my request. It has an internal scar right after the flywheel cage, designed by this madman, and it works great. It runs on Kraken and Bulldog wheels and has a 41.5 sized cage. Short darts can be double loaded, so the pusher will push one forward and you can load one more after it. And of course my Suicide Jolt, which may not be forgotten. As you can see, I love the post-apocalyptic look as my paint scheme. I try to apply as much orange as I can. And like I said, because I use them for cosplay, I have spare parts for the darker look. But in this picture is my Nerf War setup, and I really appreciate that he has the difference, that he can make them more cosplay or more Nerf War friendly. That's really a good design for anything. Next, my gear. I use a battle belt with 2 large dump pouches, 3 double stacked Talon mag holders, and 1 double fast full mag holder as backup. On my belt, I have multiple holster clips for various setups I'll run. My vest contains another 3 double stack mag holder and a pouch. Nothing on the back at the moment. At the right shoulder, I have of the vest is made a single point sling with a carabine hooks so that I can so that I can get them on and off how and when I like to. Thanks again for the inspiration your videos give me, and keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to your answer and to see my gear in a fan build. Hope to meet you someday and show our great country and fling some foam at your side. With kind regards, Pimstock. Bangarang. Once again, that is awesome. And now we get to the last bit, his LARP picture. And he actually has a Mad Maxed post-apocalyptic car. I don't know if it's actually his, or if it was part of the event, or what the story is behind this, but I would love to go to LARPs that are on that level. Afterworlds doesn't allow vehicles for the obvious reason that someone would probably die. But that is really, really cool. So, well done. I definitely will get across the pond someday, you know, when America gets its act together and the rest of the world lets us in again. But when I can travel again, I definitely will be. I will definitely be making that trip to Europe at some point. It's gonna happen, so there you have it. All right, enough of the blathering. On to the slideshow.